Okay, this is it. I can't believe we're here, but it's been such a journey. 7 years, most of which traveling, 17 countries, walking by faith, no money, no plan. And to finally be here in this week where I wrap up this YouTube channel, it's a lot. It's a lot. What we're going to do in this video is explain a little bit how the channel works, how you can try and get the information, get the notes, get the PDF file. We've done our best to organize all that, organize the notes, organize the playlists, organize all the information in a way that it makes sense and you can, follow the information, get this information, okay? I know for a lot of you, you just kind of watch this channel like you would watch, like an update, or you only watch new videos. But I don't know exactly, but it's getting close to 600 videos, and it's a teaching channel. So it's not news. It's what does the Bible say about the apocalypse, the end of days, the end of the world, okay? Obviously, it says a lot, Genesis to Revelation, and it's a teaching channel. As a teaching channel, I'm totally discouraged. Totally. And everything I've given my whole life into this, guys. I haven't done anything else but this. And it's just so heartbreaking for me, personally, okay, that the people don't listen to me. I don't ask for anything. I don't ask you for money. I don't ask you. The only thing I ask you to do is listen. The only thing I ask you to do is study. I don't ask you for money. I don't ask you for prayers. I don't ask you for anything. This is a teaching channel, okay? And if the people don't pass the test, they don't understand. You just watch the channel and you talk about the background or a cat, but you don't have any idea what I'm saying. If I ask you what happened in the video, what did I talk about? You won't be able to answer me because you don't know. You can't listen. So in that sense, I'm totally discouraged, guys. I feel like this has been a complete failure, honestly. I really do. The good thing is, you don't reward me. Okay? You don't judge me. We are all judged by the white throne. And it's He that has the rewards. Okay? He is the one that will judge. Okay? So ultimately, the reward doesn't come based on my effectiveness as a teacher, but, it's hard. I don't have resources. I have to live out of a bag. One bag I can carry on a plane. Okay. I have a backpack and a military bag. So it's not like I have a laptop or resources or some kind of ministry with cameras and it's not like that, guys. So, yeah, the organization of the channel isn't the best. I'm homeless a lot of times, living in the forest. Okay? It's not easy. So, I only wanted people to listen to me. That's it. See if the things are not so. And so now I sit here in this week. I sit here approaching this 1,335 days. I've been talking about this for 6 years. This is the 1,335 days, guys. So, over and over, every single video, you'll see me crying out to you, pleading with you. Please listen. Please listen to the playlist. Please listen. Please get the notes. Please study. Please listen. It's not me. I never told you about me. I told you about him. I told you about the book. I didn't ask you for anything. But now I sit here in this week, and I'm discouraged, yes. I'm crying, yes. You know, because I didn't do what I wanted to do. I did His will. I obeyed Him. I did it by faith. I didn't decide to do this, guys. It's a calling. This information is not by my intelligence. I didn't just go to school for this. I was called to this. And all I ask is the people would listen. But they won't listen. So yeah, I'm upset. I'm sad, I'm sad, I'm discouraged. No question. But all I can do is say, here's the information. Please follow the playlist. Please follow the information. Please see if these things are not so. Well, Leeland, that's not the way I was taught. I disagree, blah, blah, blah. Well, prove for the Bible. Okay? I know you think you could pick up the book of Revelation in 5 minutes, and you know it all. You're an American. You know everything. But now the proud and the arrogant will be brought low, and the humble will be raised up. So, guys, we're going to go through how this channel works. It does actually have a structure to it. I didn't know that I would be here like this 7 years. You know, I didn't know. I didn't say, okay, I'm going to teach the book of Revelation. And I went on commentary. I didn't do any of that. I was told I would teach the book. Yes, the Father told me, you will teach my people the book of Revelation. But I didn't know, like, how to organize it or how, all that until later on. So now, as you look back, it does have a structure to it. Okay, there is a way you can follow it. You can get the notes. You can, get the information. And so that's what we're going to talk about in this video, is how the channel works. Okay, guys, we'll use this diagram to illustrate how the channel works and functions. What you're looking at is something described in Zechariah chapter 3. It's called the seven-sided stone. So the seven-sided stone, okay, represents the years and represents the fulfillment of the apocalypse. So the channel is broken down by two of these diagrams. One would represent the first 7 years, and the other, the second set of 7 years and 14 years total. Okay, so this is how the channel is broken down, and how the playlist will correspond to certain sections of time. Okay, certain sections here of giving us this framework of how to view the apocalypse, how to view the fulfillment of these prophecies. Okay, so if we were to take, let's start with this diagram here, the first 7 years. The first 7 years, how it starts is they all start right here at this point, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then after 7 years, then you have another 7, then you have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, the other 14 years. So if we first look, each section of time is 3.5 years. So for example, this is our starting point right here, and from here you have year 1, 2, 3. You have 3 years and a half. Okay, so you can see it's light and dark. That is 6 months or a half a year. So our halfway point of the 7 years, okay, is this section of time here. So if we take that section of time and then we begin to look at what relates to that, in terms of the playlists and the information on this channel, what we have is I'll make these available to you in a PDF format where you can see it. But basically, what you can see is we have certain playlists that correspond to this section of time. Okay, so in this section of time relates to the 3.5 years when the Lamb sits upon the throne. It's called the coronation of the king. The coronation of the king is this 3.5 years. And what happens is the king sits upon the throne and the proceedings begin to take place. So the angelic orders are set in heaven. The king sits upon the throne is a whole playlist to describe this. This is really what it's all about. It's not about you. It's not about your second coming. It's not about you in your rapture doctrine. It is about the king. Okay, so the king, it's his coronation, the anointing of the most holy. Okay, and the king sitting upon the throne. And the way that is understood and the way that is expressed is through the temple. Okay, so this channel works by explaining everything from the mindset of the temple. Okay, so in the temple, he will reign in Jerusalem on a throne in the millennium. Okay, so that apocalypse and revealing of Christ, it is the revealing of Christ, begins with the king sitting upon the throne. Then what we have is the Lamb reigns 1,260 days. These are the angelic orders that surround his throne, surround the proceedings, surround the wars and the military. Okay, so that are those two playlists. Now, many of you may wonder how to get started with this information. How do you get started with this channel? There's almost 600 videos. I'm not really sure. How do you even, begin to process this information? How do you begin to learn? How do you get started? Well, the best place to get started is by these playlists here in this section of time. It's called the 7 Ecclesia and the House of David and the Citizens of Heaven. Those playlists that correspond to these warnings, these are the warnings to the Ecclesia. Remember, this channel is to the 7 Ecclesia. It's not to Muslims, it's not to sinners, it's not to atheists and wicked people. This message in this channel is to the 7 Ecclesia. Okay, the 7 Ecclesia are supposed to be believers already. Okay, so you're supposed to be a believer already in order to understand the apocalypse. The sinners and the wicked, they won't understand it. Okay, that's what it says in Daniel. The sinners won't understand. So, if you are a believer, what you have to do is you have to come to terms with the fact that you're entering a transition of time. Okay, so you're used to teaching on the new covenant. The new covenant ends, and we go into another era of time, another era of a covenant, another era of the restoration of the Garden of Eden and Christ's reign in the millennium. The expression of that is through priesthood, and that's the House of David, the 7 Ecclesia. Okay, is a great place to start, and citizens of heaven, actually knowing who you are in Christ and know who you are in Israel. Because when Christ reigns, he reigns in the order of Israel. Okay? So, that's a good place to start in those playlists in this section of time of the first 3.5 years. Okay, first thing, the channel is organized, as you can see, by playlists. And there are a number of playlists, and you can see all the categories. So the first thing is, once you have a question or you're looking for a piece of information, the first thing to do is just look through the playlist, and there's most likely a playlist and a whole combination of videos that deal with that subject. Okay, you can see all the different subject matter here, and as we begin, the playlist we want to discuss is the king sits upon the throne. So here you can see the king sits upon the throne. Quite often a playlist will have a introduction video which you can watch, which will explain the playlist. Okay, keep in mind that these videos go over 7 years. So in the beginning I didn't know exactly how to organize and categorize the channel into subcategories like playlists until much later. So some of the playlists are new. But basically this one deals with entirely the things like we mentioned that relate to the king sitting upon the throne and all the videos associated with that. The Son of Man, the great and terrible day of the Lord, etc. And so you begin to understand this by the book of Esther. Okay, so then what happens is a lot of these videos, not all the videos, guys, but a lot of the videos will have notes. Okay, so then you have all these videos, all these messages dealing with the angelic orders, dealing with all this information. Okay, and then in order to follow along with the message, not all the videos, but some of the videos have accompanying notes. Okay, so the notes for the channel are on a place called Google Drive. And here you can see my drive. This is the way that I view it. It's a little different the way you view it because this is not a publicly accessible place right here. But what I did is I made available to all the people 2 folders. One is called All, one is called Calendar and Timelines. Okay, so when we begin to look at the king sits upon the throne and this section of time, we will go to the folder called All. So there'll be a link for the Google Drive for All, and when you go to that link, you'll see this. Okay, you'll just see Google Drive All, you'll see this folder, and you'll see all these notes that are publicly viewable in one place. Okay, so each one of these is a PDF file that corresponds to a playlist or a certain section of teaching. Okay, so we're talking about the king sits upon the throne in that section of time. Now that section of time, okay, is described by this playlist here called The Lamb 1260 Days. Now when we look at the PDF file, Lamb 1260 days, this PDF file here would include all the teachings that are notes that are associated with this section of time, these 3.5 years, the king sitting upon the throne, the coronation of the king, which we read about in the book of Esther. And it deals with the angelic orders, and it deals with the videos related to the king sits upon the throne. Now, certainly what you can do is when you get these notes, you can have all these notes, you can study these notes, but it's going to be difficult, honestly, for you to understand the notes without the videos, okay? Definitely get the notes, download them, print them off in color, have them in categories, put them in a binder, okay? But it's only the Bible here, guys, and I'm reading the Bible. That's all the notes are, but in terms of like expounding on what is on like the teaching, like this is just one page, but I might have a video of, 30 to 45 minutes on just this one page, okay, expounding on other things. So it's a way the notes have compiled all the information into one place, but really in order to understand the meaning and the sense of what you're looking at here, you're going to need the videos, okay? You're going to need the videos. But this one deals with this section of time. It's this one deals with the order of the angels and what is taking place in the first 3.5 years. That first section of the time we're calling the Lamb reigns 1260 days, okay? So that's what all this information here. You'll see a lot of messages related to the book of Esther, because the book of Esther describes this time period for us. Okay, again, in this section of time of the coronation of the king, we have the following playlist. The king sits upon the throne, the Lamb reigns 1260 days, which is the angelic orders. Then we have the 7 ecclesia, we have the house of David, we have the man-child, the citizens of heaven. We've also connected this with the Garden of Eden. These are the playlists, okay, that correspond to this section of time. Then what we have is, you could see there's a dot here, 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 here. What these markers, dots here, mean is that there are notes. So then you have the playlist, And then with that playlist, there are notes. Okay, so those are all the PDF files that we showed you. So we saw Lamb reigns 1,260 days, corresponding with the king sits upon the throne. Then we have another playlist and corresponding notes. So the notes will be called 7 Ecclesia. The playlist, 7 Ecclesia. Then the House of David. Okay, the House of David has a playlist and notes. And then the Man-Child has a playlist called the Man-Child, Rulers, okay, elect rulers. And then there is corresponding PDF file and notes to the Man-Child. If you don't know who the Man-Child is, if you don't know who the 144,000 is, you will not understand anything that's happening in the book of Revelation. And these are the various errors of the apostate church to try to come up with different types of explanations and strange things that are just not in the prophecy. Okay, so these all deal with that section of time. Okay, and that section of time would have gone from 2010 to 2014. Okay, those 3.5 years. Okay, going into the beginning of 2014, then brings us to the next time period, which is on the other side of the sheet, which is the seals. Okay, our next section of time dealing with the prophecy of the first 7 years relates to this period of time of 3.5 years. And this section of time is described by the Lamb opens the seals. So there's a playlist called the Lamb opens the seals, and there are notes as well that deal with seals 1 through 5. Then there are additional playlists that describe what transpires in this time. For example, we begin to see the 144,000. That's Esther and Esther's preparation. The description of the 6th seal. Okay, the forerunner Antichrist. Okay, and Daniel's timeline. So these are very significant prophecies that deal with the mystery of this time. When do the seals open? Okay, well, the seals open. The Lamb opens the seals during the first 7 years of the apocalypse. Okay, now I'll just deal with a simple question or misunderstanding of the seals. When it describes the seals, it's a white horse, red horse, black horse, pale horse. Okay, those are angels. And when it gets to the description of them, it says these 4 have power over a 4th part of the earth. Many people misinterpret that to say that a 1/4 of the population of the earth dies. It just doesn't say that. It doesn't say that in the prophecy. It says they have power over a 4th part of the earth. Okay, so they have power over east, west, south, north, the positions of the earth to execute judgments in various fashions on the earth. Okay, it doesn't mean that 25% of the world population died. That's just misinterpretation, guys. These are just stupid things. But people repeat these stupid things enough that people believe them. Say, oh, no, we're not in this time because of this. No, yes, you are in the time. You're well beyond the seals, okay? But, I mean, for many of you, still don't even know who are the 144,000, okay? So the 144,000 are, in fact, Esther. Esther is crowned. Esther is sealed, okay? And the 144,000 were sealed then, okay? That's back in 2017. Okay, so this time period deals with 2014 to 2017. Then we have the Revelation 12 sign of the woman clothed with the sun, which happens before the 7 years, the final 7 years in tribulation period. So the channel as well describes, the book of Revelation. So what is the Lamb, Esther's preparation, and Daniel's timeline. Now, Daniel's timeline, this timeline and playlist and notes actually correspond to just about the whole book of Daniel, not just any one chapter. Okay, so that deals with a lot. There's a lot of information there in Daniel's timeline that corresponds to the book of Revelation. But we just want to make mention that the Lamb opens the seals. That's the main playlist. And then there are corresponding playlists that go along with that. Okay. Now, when we go back to Google Drive and the folder All, again, we see the corresponding notes and PDF files that will be associated with this period here called the Lamb reigns, or the the Lamb opens the seals. So here is our notes here for the PDF file. The Lamb opens the seals. Okay, so then once you have this PDF file, then you have this section of time and the notes that do correspond to the videos. Okay, so that is loading slowly. But here is the playlist. So then under the playlist, you see the title and the intro video. The Lamb opens the seal, intro video. And in the intro video, you'll have the information of where to access the notes and other information corresponding to this section of time. Okay, so the Lamb opens the seals, and then you can see we have who are the four spirits of the heavens. These are the horse riders, okay, that we had talked about. And then Song of Solomon, and all the corresponding messages that go with that section of time. So you'll see there's a lot more messages than there is notes. Okay, the notes are only a smaller portion of the messages. That's why, if you can, it would be really good to download many of these messages, okay, and not only get the PDF file and notes, okay. So these are all the videos in that playlist that correspond to that section of time, to the prophecy of the time period of the seals. Okay, dealing with the time period of the seals, and some of these will overlap into other prophecies. Not everything fits in this little box. Remember, the seven ecclesia, the seven seals, the seven trumpets, the seven bowls is a framework. It's a framework of understanding of how the revealing of Jesus Christ is the frame of the revealing over 14-year period. Okay, that doesn't mean everything happens in little boxes, but it's a framework of where we can watch for certain things taking place. Okay, so that's the Lamb opens the seals, and then there will be other very important videos that correspond with this, including the 144,000. Okay, here. So here you see 144,000. Who are the 144,000? And then you have all the messages. So this one playlist has 53 messages. Okay, and there's also accompanying notes. There will be accompanying notes as well, but there's not nearly as many notes as there are messages, you see. So that's where it's really good to find a way to download the videos if you can, and then download them and keep them in a folder or a category that deal with that section of time. Okay, so who are the 144,000? They are coded throughout the book of Revelation in every section. They're in the seven ecclesia, mostly expressed by the Church of Philadelphia. They, of course, are sealed in the sixth seal, and then they are seen as well in the fifth trumpet, where the locust cannot touch those with the seal. So they would have already been sealed by the fifth trumpet. Okay, and then you see their assembly in Revelation 14. Now here is the playlist called Daniel's Timeline. And in Daniel's Timeline, these include mostly, in the beginning, mostly videos related to Daniel's timeline specifically. And then we have more messages and topics covering other chapters in Daniel, not only Daniel chapter 8, but then Daniel chapter 9, 10, and 12, getting into these things. But you can see for many years we've been teaching the same thing. Blessed is he that comes to and waits 1,335 days. These are things we've been talking about, guys, for many years, 6 years, 7 years sometimes, going back. So all of these are here. Many of these messages are complex, and they do have notes. So it's good that you watch the video. If you just read the notes, especially some of the complex topics like here, the men clothed in linen, the angel of the covenant, many, many tekel pares, it's maybe hard to read the notes, honestly, or it'll just take a lot of study. You just have to spend a lot of time. Okay, so that is the Daniel's timeline. Okay, Daniel's timeline, and then really covering the whole book of Daniel. All right, that's really what we're looking at here with that playlist called Daniel's Timeline. Okay, and again, we put that in the area of the seals because Daniel's timeline begins to be triggered in the time of the seals. Okay, so that's why we place that there. So in the section of time of the seals, okay, those are the main areas. We have the Lamb open as seals. You have the 144,000. Okay, you have Daniel's timeline. Okay, and then there's other things too, like really important citizens of heaven, like we have mentioned before. Who are we in Christ? You have to know who you are in Christ in the apocalypse. Otherwise, you're going to be deceived. Okay, unfortunately. So then you have Esther's preparation. Oh, Esther's preparation also happens in the seals. Okay, so this is a whole playlist during the time of the seals, and dealing with the book of Esther, also dealing with the book of the Song of Solomon quite a bit, that show us who is this Esther, who is this bride. Okay, and there's of course, as you can see, many videos related to the book of Esther, a lot of them dealing with her preparation, a lot of them dealing with how do we know the time of when that 1 year period is of Esther's preparation. Okay, so a lot of these videos deal with that, and the eclipses that mark perfectly Purim and that time period. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you would have had to prepare precisely at the same year of Esther's preparation, because that has already come and gone. That would have been the year leading to the woman clothed with the sun. But it's understand the process, because the process doesn't change. Okay, so when Christ gave the same shekel to everybody that worked during the first hour of the day or the last hour of the day, they all got the same shekel. They all got the same thing. So whether you started early or late, it's the same reward. Okay, so and then we have many videos on how Esther shows us the calendar and the feasts and Purim and everything like that. So Esther's preparation is also very important in the time of the seals, because it takes place during the time of the seals. Okay, that brings us to our next section of time, and the 7 trumpets. Okay, you got the 7 trumpets, and you got all the corresponding playlists that relate to these 3.5 year period of time, okay, of the 7 trumpets. Now, some of you might say, well, we haven't seen the Great Mountain. We haven't seen Wormwood. Well, we're not prepared to exactly say they have been fulfilled to the fullest, okay? But part of the prophecy says, don't let the winds blow or the trumpets blow until we have sealed the servants of God in their forehead. Now, the 144,000 were sealed, okay? But then there is a holding back that also happens, okay? Because that was a spiritual seal, and then there is a physical seal, okay? So when the Son of Man comes in the clouds, more judgments will be released, okay? More things will happen, all right? But within this time, we have significant things: daily sacrifice, Antichrist begins at 42 months, the peace deal, and the mark of the beast, okay? Then we have the 1,335 days, okay, there. So once we get to this playlist, once we get to this section of time, guys, not all these playlists, not all this information has notes and PDF files, okay? So, for example, a lot of the videos relating to Trump as the Antichrist, the peace deal, the mark of the beast, the third temple, they can be more like, if you could look at them like a documentary style video, okay? Or, showing you different things, resources online, different things like that. So they're not PDF files that you can keep and have the notes like some other videos, okay? So when it relates to Trump as the Antichrist, the peace deal, the mark of the beast, the third temple, these are things you want to download these videos, okay? Because the information is not in notes, is not, some of the videos will have notes of the verses that we had talked about, where there'll be a note in the description field, there'll be a note in a comment, okay? So a lot of them will have that, where you can download those notes, all right? But they don't have PDF files. They don't have all the information. So those ones are really good ones to download. Find a resource to download those videos from YouTube, so that you have, a copy of those, okay? And then you can go through that series, okay? But the ones that we do have in the 7 trumpets, you can see the information increases dramatically from the earlier time periods of prophecy. Now you have the 7 trumpets. You have the 7 trumpets playlist and PDF file. You have the woman clothed with the sun. That begins this. Revelation 12 happened September 22nd, 2017. She goes in the wilderness 1,260 days. And then she's given wings of an eagle, times and a half a time. That's 7 years. Okay. So the whole playlist, woman clothed with the sun, and accompanying PDF file to go along with that teaching. All right. Now, once we get here, it says, don't let the winds blow, or some of the trumpets, don't let the trumpets blow. There's a withholding effect, okay? Withholding effect until something happens. Now, those are the first 4 trumpets, okay? So we're watching for those, okay, to happen. Now, it doesn't mean that they have to happen in these 3.5 years, okay? It can, okay? It could go longer until that the great trumpet is blown. Once a great trumpet is blown, then more of the bowls and the other judgments in our next section of time will continue. Okay, so once we're in the trumpets, guys, the seals are still going. It's not like, okay, the things that happened in the seals that stopped. Okay, no. The seals are still going. Those judgments are continuing. Okay, because they have to continue, because the souls that cry out from the altar deal until their fellow brethren, their number be fulfilled. So that number has to be fulfilled before that's the destruction of Babylon. So that's, over several years. So what we have woman clothed with the sun. We have main prophecies, big ones. Wow. 5th trumpet, 6th trumpet, very important you understand. 5th trumpet, locust army. 6th trumpet, the great army. This is Armageddon. Between these two, okay. Very important you understand those videos and accompanying messages to the Great Army. Great Army has lots of videos, guys, to explain what is the 6th trumpet. It's major misunderstanding of who that is. And then we have another playlist called Revelation 13. It's called The First Beast in Revelation 13. Now, this is a good one, and has PDF file notes, because it's a great way to understand all the heads and horns and all those things. Comparing that with Revelation 13 and Daniel 7, you'll see there's a perfect order and structure to that, okay? Now, an old playlist that we have here is called Church and Tribulation. A long time ago, many years ago, we had started this playlist so as to teach a people the church is going through the tribulation. It hasn't been updated, but I've left it online because pretty much all the videos are related to that subject. The church is going through the tribulation. All right, then we have 7 Thunders playlist and 1,335 Days playlist. Now, both of those playlists, I combined the notes for them into one PDF file. That's why you see this here with one PDF file here, because they overlap and they do correspond. So that does have a PDF file. You got the 7 Thunders. You got 1,335 Days, which you can also see here. All right. Then what we have is the peace deal. That's a whole playlist to explain the peace deal. A whole playlist to explain the mark of the beast. And a whole playlist on the 3rd temple. Parts of it already built underground. Okay, so the things that we can show you related to the 3rd temple and different sacrifices and all those things taking place are all in there. And again, those are not notes and PDF files. Those are videos being on site, showing you the things going on. So again, once we have this, keep in mind, all these will be in that section, all. So then you have all, you have 7 trumpets, you have woman clothed with the sun, you have 6 trumpet army, first beast, PDF files, all the corresponding notes with those videos, okay? All right, so that is the 7 trumpets, okay? Then what we have, of course, is we have the 7 bowls, okay? So then we had that section at a time, and then the bowls are poured out, and we're already seeing evidence of the first bowl, okay, because you would have to have the mark of the beast already in effect, instituted by the first bowl, okay? So I know for a lot of you this is difficult because, this is not the way you were taught or whatever, but anyway, on this channel we just teach the Bible. We're not responsible for your teachers. We're responsible for what we're teaching. So you have the main playlist, 7 bowls. Okay, you got 7 bowls of Revelation and a corresponding PDF file to accompany that. Now, what also the book of Revelation emphasizes Mystery Babylon here. Mystery Babylon in Revelation 17 and 18. So you have a Mystery Babylon playlist and Mystery Babylon PDF file. So both of these have PDF files and notes corresponding to those playlists. Then we have Armageddon. Okay, so 6th Trumpet Army against the 5th Trumpet Army. And we're now actually seeing Armageddon already. So we have Armageddon playlist dealing with this section of time of the Great Tribulation. Okay, so that deals with the 7 ecclesia, the 7 seals, the 7 trumpets, and the 7 bowls. There is another kind of section, if you will, that's after the 14 years, which goes into the millennium. And so in the millennium, we have a millennium notes, and then we have playlist number, weigh, divide, or measure the temple. And then that's one playlist, which is an older playlist when we've been measuring the temple, and then we updated that with another one called Show the Design, Measure the Pattern, which is a similar principle, but this one has the corresponding notes and the PDF file to explain the pattern of the temple and how it teaches us the apocalypse and revealing of Christ. And then we have the Camp of the Saints is another PDF file, notes and playlist called the Camp of the Saints, which is the order of lion, ox, man, eagle, and around the throne. And of course, that is this diagram here that we have shown you many times of the throne, and it shows the 4 cherubim, lion, ox, man, eagle, and the 4 wheels. This is the sign of the Son of Man, also called the chariot of the cherubim, when the Son of Man will come in the clouds, and how the people are ordered by the tribes and banners, lion, ox, man, eagle. We explained many videos on that. On Google Drive, where all the notes are held, there's another folder called Calendar and Timelines. And if we go to Calendar and Timelines, of course, you can see the many years that we followed the calendar, and then you'll see many of the other charts and graphs like we share. So many of you ask about, okay, show me where the charts that you're using and the graphs, they're all here, okay? All the charts, the graphs, the timelines, the different things, the calendar. And there's really good resources here as well about the blood moons and the menorah eclipses and the Sabbath pattern like we're showing you. So all this here is in this folder called Calendar and Timelines. Okay, so when you go here, then you can click on the PDF and download it and print that off. Also, every playlist, when you click on the playlist, in the description of that playlist will be the notes that you can click on that will bring you to the PDF file of the notes of each playlist, okay? So I want to make that clear. If the playlist has notes, the playlist may not have notes, but if it does has notes, it's in the description field, because I'm going to try to upload the links in all the videos, but that's the difficult part, guys, is that I have to change all the links, go through and edit all the videos with the new links. So that's why I'm showing you under the category all folder, that's where all the notes are. Under calendar and timelines, that's where additional notes are, where you can get all the PDF files in the event that the links in the videos don't work, okay? Also, when you go to the channel and you look at the channel information, okay, under the description of the channel, it has the notes, folder all, and calendar and timelines, okay? So, you may ask, all right, Leeland, what do you have what do you want to tell us in your closing statement? Guys, basically, what am I supposed to say? I have like 600 videos, but I'm really serious about this. And it's really about the harp. It's really about worship. How can you express love, okay, in this time? Yes, we have to wait. Okay, there's 2 things I want to tell you, is to wait and to worship. I really encourage you to get one of these. It's called a mini kinnawar. It's a small harp. You can buy them on Amazon. They're like, $70, $80, something like that. It's not expensive. And I have an instruction video on my backup channel where I show you some basics of how to play this. And I also have songs. Many of the songs that you hear on the channel, those songs, I have instruction for how to play on this. Why? The ones that overcome are given the harps of God. And then they sing specific songs. So that is how they overcame the beast, is by worship. Okay? So number one, it's by worship, and I really encourage you to get this and actually do it. You don't have to be a musician. You don't have to be able to sing, but you do this. You can do this, okay? The other thing is I do have a SoundCloud channel, and on the SoundCloud, I have a lot of songs, the songs I do. I also have a lot of instrumental music and other music on the SoundCloud. That's really the foundation of this channel, and the teaching is the various skills of how to interpret Scripture and some of these things related to music, okay? Now, next, wait. How do you wait? All right, our instructions to wait in the 1,335 days is in Isaiah chapter 30, verse 15. And it uses specific words on wait and tranquility and quietness in Isaiah chapter 30, verse 15, and Isaiah chapter 30, verse 18. Okay, in that are the words, study it, learn how to wait on God. It's in there, okay? The word 1,335 days, blessed are those that wait, in Hebrews, haka. Okay, you can search that word. It's Strong's Concordance 2442, and whenever you see it in context, it's the instructions to wait. So we are to wait, we are to worship, we are to overcome the beast, okay? That's where we're at. All right, now, in addition to that, the other thing I want you to know is that all the things I told you about the notes. Now, you can download videos from YouTube. I'll go to the comment section. So some of you that know how to download videos from YouTube, you can get like Premiere, or if you find some source and you have suggestions for that, make a comment and show the people. Just be careful, guys. There is kind of spamware and different things that can attach to your devices based on some of that. That's why I'm not going to recommend anything specific. But once you have that, you have some type of app or website, yes, you can download videos from YouTube, and you can systematically go and download videos. In addition to that, one subscriber did back up most of the videos. I think actually all the videos that are on YouTube are on Rumble. The username is Dave Ho, Daveho, for House of David, Dave Ho. And I honestly don't know how to find the videos or the information to be able to share that. I just want you to know that they've done it. I honestly can't find it, so I'm sorry that I can't really tell you anything more than that. I just know they've been backed up. That information is just difficult to come by. So that's what I'd like you to do. I also want you to know that I am not deleting videos. I'm not deleting the channel. If something happens, I didn't do it. Someone else did. I'm leaving the information. Why would I delete the channel? Why would I delete all this work? I'm not going to do that. I'm leaving that resource. I'm leaving all this information for you. But I'm encouraging you. I'm not in control of that. Okay? Whatever happens by YouTube or someone else, okay? It's not me, is what I'm trying to tell you. I didn't do that. All right, so that's why I'm encouraging you to get all the information, get all the notes, get all the PDF files, download the videos. Okay, you can see lots of times we're trying to upload videos. It's something they don't like. They issue a strike, and then you're off. Okay, so they can go back on other videos and do that as well. So I don't have control of that, is what I'm trying to say. So that concludes it, guys. This may be my last video. I'm not sure if I'll have a chance to do any uploading. It was exactly a year ago that I was taken offline, exactly this week, okay, before Shabbat. So I'm anticipating the same thing. I will be offline, okay, by at least then. If I can get any other videos finished before then, I'll try and do that. But this is the update on the channel. We might not have any other videos, might not be able to do it, but I'm showing you how to get the information and the resources, okay? So guys, thank you so much. Guys, I love you so much. I'm so heartbroken when I said I'm leaving YouTube and all the responses of the people. It was just so heartrending for me. It was so overwhelming. So I put everything I have into this, and And guys, I never asked for anything, just for you to listen. So thanks for listening. Those that have followed the channel, even for many years, I really encourage you to go back again. Most of these concepts are deep concepts. You're going to have to listen to it over and over. If you're new to the channel, you'll have to listen many times and many videos to get used to the teaching style. How do you understand the information? How do you really understand the prophecy? It's not really about you or me. It's about Christ. It's his second coming, not ours. Okay? So it's knowing him. Okay? So guys, thanks for watching, and God bless you.